Yeah, you
And
read about
I was watching a great thing about the Japanese Zero today, and about how technologically advanced it was for its time. How it just
weren't they mostly just crashing it?
No. That's at the very end of the war. At the end of the war, when they didn't have any other way of, it was the last resort sort of thing. The
Zeros
Japanese
do look
Zero,
really cool.
the Zero outperformed everything it fought in the Pacific with a kill ratio of 12-1 in the early years.
No,
yes, the Air Force manual said to go to high altitude, to do a passing run on them, and then to go as fast and low as you could to escape, or you will die. Because they could not fight them at all. They would lose every dogfight at a ratio of 12-1. Yes, it was.
I had no idea
we
were getting wrecked.
It was so much better than anything the world had ever seen. The reports that came out of China, because the war for the Japanese began there, were that they were just shitting on them, and everybody in the West thought it was just exaggerations. They're like, yeah, the Chinese have biplanes, of course they're getting shit on. But no, when they started fighting, they were getting destroyed. It was only after they captured a Zero and they were able to understand like how it was made, and the things it was sacrificing to do all the things that I'm describing, to be so maneuverable, to have a 500-mile range. I think it was sacrificing a lot. It didn't have any armor. It was like a millimeter thick, the outside skin.
It was just too quick to hit for the guys.
It was too maneuverable, and it weighed like 2,000 pounds less than the American plane that was its counterpart, so it could just outmaneuver them at low speeds. So the doctor,
12-1. That's a horrible ratio.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
for the first.
That's a real shit show.
We were losing that bad for years.
Yeah.
Damn. I never
in the air.
Huh. Well, yeah,
in the air and dog
that's
fights.
important on the Pacific.
I suppose so. It was mostly carrier battles, but they were sinking ships too with other kinds of aircraft. No, it was really interesting because I think Howard Hughes, the piece of shit that he was like, clearly it's a stolen design of the Howard Hughes Speedcraft that I designed, of course. And like finally they captured one, right? Like, because the Japanese doctrine was, if your plane is going down, it should go down as hard as possible. It should be destroyed. If you can, burn it. The thing that sparked the whole Japanese internment camp movement, the like case they used, was where after Pearl Harbor, one of those planes crashed on one of the islands. The way news went in those days, the locals didn't immediately know that there was a World War II had begun about Pearl Harbor. But long story short, some Japanese natives on that island allowed that pilot to escape custody, burn his plane, and shoot a couple of the natives there, injuring them in the whole process. And so they used that Japanese couple as the scapegoat, if you will, for the whole Japanese internment camp thing. But yeah, they finally captured one, and they saw how that one, like a single hit would destroy it. Just a lucky hit would. And they also saw that, I guess, it wasn't very maneuverable at high speeds because it didn't have any hydraulics. It was, so sacrificing that.
What did the Americans in their existing planes do? Because they couldn't just be like, all right, shoot more accurately. Like, did they have to immediately go back to the drawing board, design a new plane kind of like the Zero, and then put the Americans in there?
Well, they had to change their tactics right away. Like I said, they could fly at a high. The Japanese Zero could climb to 33,000 feet or so, 34,000, 10,000 meters, and it could do it extremely fast. The American tactic was to stay high and to do one run as you like dove through the Japanese, and then flee because their top speed was faster. If they dogfight, they were just going to die. And later they had better planes. They
back in World War II,
planes.
We were just not the power we are like we were later. Like,
we'll see.
Like we were getting owned by the German tanks in Europe at the same time, right?
So we had to like a potential fight with China, because I agree with what you're saying. Like we went in there and we didn't have the technology advantage. What we had was a manufacturing advantage.
Yeah.
And over time, we even had a technology advantage. I think Kyle was about to explain that as the new planes came in, the Spitfire, etc., we were better than the Zero. And that happened after 1942. Like, I think better Spitfires.
The Zero wasn't getting better every year. What the Zero was holy shit, you are 10 years ahead of your time when it matters. You have peaked on the tech tree in this one little area. Yeah. Right when you needed it, and they just shit on the whole world. But the Americans, they weren't just the Japanese had a system that could produce like 100 good pilots a month or something like that. They only had 550 total Zeros ever, I think, or at their highest number. But because they had that maybe 500-mile range, maybe it was 500 kilometers, really far, they were able to exert their influence on a much larger region with 550 planes than anyone could imagine. So they thought there were thousands of them because it seemed like there were, and they weren't losing a lot of them either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
it's really interesting. I'm impressed by your guys' World War II plane knowledge.
You gave me too much credit. I was reading the Wikipedia as Kyle was saying it. I'm like, everything he says is right.
When you said, I think it was after 1942, I was like, what? Like,
yeah. I had known that for seconds before I said it.
What's that Hurt Locker looking bomb defusal suit you got going on back there? What is that thing?
Oh, that's a EOD-8 bomb suit.
It's real? Like 100? Like
yeah. You want? I'll check it out.
I guess you've had cause to put that on before, huh?
Yeah. Let me see here.
Yeah, it reminded me of Hurt Locker. Is that similar to what from the movie?
He's muted. I don't know if he knows he's muted.
No, yeah, he is muted.
Damn.
You hear me all right?
Thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
I thought that was like a red bookshelf with a bunch
How
of
much can it save you from? Like, could you handle a grenade? Could you handle a mortar shell nearby?
What's that?
Do you think you could handle a grenade going off if you're in that?
Man, that's a thing with bomb suits. Like, I get why. I mean, they're not going to stop overpressure that well. I mean, they will a little, but it's really a light frag protection.
What is
Can I like I think it's the light frag protection, and it's also like on the approach and and getting away. Like there's definitely, no matter how big the thing is, while you're walking up to or walking away from whatever you're going to defuse or fuck with, where like, oh, if it went off now, I'd be okay because of the suit. You could not stand here. I can stand here. There's a range where that is.
You're safe at 50 feet. I'm safe at 200.
But once you're up there tinkering with the thing, right? Like that thing, I don't know what the thing is that doesn't kill you, even though you're wearing that suit, if you're tinkering with it. You know what I mean? Like it has to be like a little thing. And even then, this shit's gone and your face is gone, maybe. Like definitely your hands.
Most people don't think about soft tissue damage with overpressure. Like I've got I very seldom post a social at this point, but I've got a reel on my Instagram feed of like me uncorking a bottle of champagne with a fireball going off behind me, and you watch the overpressure go through the champagne as it's coming out, and you just think about that going through all the soft tissue on your body, in your organs. And like, I mean, you can even look at my crotch on that and look at how the ripples on my blue jeans are affected by it. And it's like, most people think about fragmentation as like the primary means of whatever, like the damage, but like the overpressure can quite literally turn your brain tissue into like jello.
What does it take to create overpressure? Like a frag grenade, a regular one an army guy would throw?
It's the kinetic kind of energy of the gases expanding, leading out from the.
I think I understand overpressure, but for example, if I was next to a 50 cal, that's not enough overpressure to do anything. If I was next to a frag grenade, is that where more than just the fragments are dangerous? The overpressure is also dangerous. Like, what does it take to create dangerous overpressure?
Well, it really depends, because there's a lot of different variables, right? So if you take like a 50 cal and like the round in itself is going 2,800 feet per second, give or take, and if you're at the muzzle brake, how that overpressure is focused could be X amount of energy. But then you take most like PETN or C4 and stuff like that is running at around 30 or 28,000 feet per second. So quite literally 10 times the amount of energy being released. And so you look at things like up-armored Humvees and stuff like that, and you get these really, really weird reactions inside the cabin because you have all these hard surfaces that can actually reflect and channel into like essentially laser beams of overpressure. So like you're channeling a muzzle brake onto somebody. So it depends on the circumstance, but that's why it can get kind of hairy. I know a lot of guys who preferred to be in soft vehicles versus up armored.
Could they be wrong? Like, I think you're a subject matter expert on this, but like I can imagine this being a field where there's a lot of bullshit, where like wives' tales run rampant on what overpressure does. I've heard people claiming to be snipers saying that if you miss someone with a 50 cal, from like a distance, that they're still in deep trouble. They could still die if that bullet comes anywhere near them.
I know the guy you're talking about. What's that guy's problem?
It's the guy with skinny and black. The one I'm talking about.
It's this skinny black guy who's he's one of those guys with credentials who does social media stuff, right? Like I'm ex-Navy SEAL Billy Badass, and I was a sniper for Delta Force, and I was sheep dipped and did CIE Black Ops, and I also play Call of Duty now. So subscribe to my Twitch. He's that guy, and he's just like, the 50 caliber BMG is such a powerful round. You can miss someone, and the bullet can go past them, tear their arm right off, and then no, of course it won't. Like
you could if you could shoot it through my hand reliably, I'd be okay. I bet.
I don't think it'll shatter. Well, I don't know if it'll shatter a champagne glass. I think I've seen. Did you do a video where you like debunk this? I feel like I've seen the champagne glass video.
No, I've uncorked a bottle of champagne with a 50 cal before, and it didn't shatter it.
Yeah, I mean a glass, like a champagne flute, I should say. Like I think Mythbusters like shot right next to a flute because that's considered like this really dainty, fragile piece of glass. Shockwave. Women can break those by hitting high notes, right? You've probably seen that happen. Yeah. That's a real thing. But the 50 cal going past it won't. It's silly. It's fucking science fiction. And him saying that as someone who supposedly served or used that weapons platform is just, he looks like he might just want a lot of interaction because people are making videos about the stupid thing he said.
You got to think about what's happening. So the round in itself, it is accurate to say that there is a supersonic overpressure wave around the bullet, but most people are talking about in overpressure, like kinetic energy, like damage situations. It's like the rapid expansion of the gases, not necessarily the projectile that's creating the overpressure. So be it inside the chamber of the round going off, the gas is coming out the muzzle brake. You're getting way more overpressure there than you are from the round going by. Yeah, there's the supersonic component to it, the shock wave around it.
You see the air condensing because the water molecules are being pushed together and it's condensing into like visible water and from just the humidity in the air. Shockwaves are fucking cool. Like the big ones, like that Beirut explosion, that might be the most impressive visual shockwave ever recorded because there's been a couple Chinese factories that blew up, and I think I saw a flour mill. Like bread flour is very explosive in the right conditions when it's atomized in the air just right, so that when one piece of flour burns, it can set off the piece of flour next to it. If it's the right concentration, it's a huge bomb. That explosion was big, but that Beirut thing is crazy.
I think you're smart enough now, like after all your experiences, to not fall into that situation. Those were kind of tragic, in that like I know most people the urge to want to film, ooh, big explosion, but like in the back of our heads are going, oh shit, light travels faster than sound.
It's coming. It's
exploded. It's fucking coming. Take cover.
Especially when you're behind glass.
And you see all the windows just like 5 seconds later. Whoosh, who knows who lived.
When you see it, you know that moves at 186,000 miles per second. There's some other shit coming at like 700 miles per hour that's going to ruin your life. Like you need to
Is
move.
That guy in the clip you just shared? It was the one with the Beirut explosion where there's a guy on a Sea-Doo and he jumps into the water as the pressure
That's the video
wave is coming. Yeah, I was referencing it.
I haven't seen it.
Is that dude? So he's totally fine, like going underwater. And you see the camera like get all upturned and everything because he's underwater while the wave is passing. So he's
100%.
100% good. The water protected.
I don't know that it would have. I don't know what it would have done to him if he hadn't gone in the water. That was a colossal explosion. But
Wow.
going in the water
Video.
is a smart move. It's super heads up, and
Yeah.
it looks cool on the video too.
That was very cool. But I didn't know if that was like, oh, that, it traveled through the water and still fucked him up a little bit, or oh no, the pressure goes the path of least resistance, which is across the top or something. I don't know. I don't know how physics works.
See, air moving is a big part of it. Like it's about to hit. That's the problem with those. We faked all that nuclear. Every time you see a nuclear explosion footage, and I'll describe it and you'll picture it. A building gets hit by a wave of pressure, and at first all the paint is scorched off, and then the building blows away. Or then there's the one where all the trees lay way over to the right, and then they come back, and as they sort of settle, like you can see ash and soot falling off of them. That's all fake footage that the Department of Defense crafted, made. It's not nuclear detonations, but when the Russians saw that shit,
yeah, they were like, oh my God, the West has the most durable cameras in all of existence.
Well, if the camera
look at what it did to that house, and yet cameras stay perfectly focused.
Exactly. Imagine American camera technology
in 1939.
Yeah, like our fucking camera can survive the black. He's right. Camera doesn't move.
I was kind of disappointed when I learned that too. And I was like,
I'm not disappointed.
No wonder those look so cool.
I'm fucking
real.
proud. That's such a good move. Like that.
You think we got him 100%, or do you think there was some?
I think we're still getting them, Taylor.
We should make more fake nuke tests.
It's working. That's what the Russians are doing right now, right? Like I think they're threatening to shoot some in space or whatever.
Oh, really?
Maybe that's what the UAP things are, or whatever.
Oh, those UAP things are either most likely that's our shit. That's our drones. That's our like 6th generation Dark Wars stuff, or like slim possibility it's some sort of like alien race that lives beneath the waves. That's always not alien. Like they've been here all along. They're like the sea people. We're the earth people but the sea people are like millions of years of evolution ahead of us because they haven't had to deal with any of the crazy shit that goes up top side. Little Mermaid people.
I think the footage is real, Kyle.
Huh?
I think that footage is real.
I don't think so.
No, the ones where it's like the fixed camera and like the house blows over. No, I think those ones are fake. The
ones in like the Bikini Atoll, the underwater ones where you see like the naval vessels doing stuff. The space one, which is really cool. That's all real.
This is what I just found out. So
the artillery shell one,
is it real? I was looking into it.
So cool.
There was a guy on Joe Rogan's podcast recently, Mark Andreessen, or I can't pronounce names, but that sounds rightish, who claimed they were fake and said, what happened to the cameras, etc. And that was like one of the ways of debunking it. But the powers that be have come back and said, the cameras were well protected in their housings or whatever, and that these are real footages. This is real footage.
Are you telling me a Joe Rogan guest misled me on scientific information?
If that's where you got it, it seems
I get
that way.
most
At least
of
that's
my
what Associated Press tells us.
Oh my God, I get so much of my historical data from the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm in shambles right now. If this,
I don't know where you heard it. I'd only be guessing, but
it was literally that. I mean, I'm sure it was.
It?
I'm sure it was.
So that guy,
I've heard about these ones from other. I don't remember where, but like obviously nukes are real. But it totally makes sense to make propaganda videos to scare geopolitical enemies.
I mean, we're right next to the house.
The logic in it, like I'm not denying that it does make a certain sense to do this, but that doesn't prove it false.
I think they showed I thought you could see like that some of the stuff was miniatures or something. I thought that was the case. I had that belief, but it's very
anyway. If you're curious, here's the
it looks fake once you hear someone say it is. You're like, oh.
There's so much Ukrainian footage. Like I need a montage of the shit. I just watched two guys RPG a fucking like truck or something and blow it up, and it looked like it was 50 yards away. It looked like I would have gotten closer personally, so the thing was in frame, but they did a good job.
It's tricky to understand how that happened, right? Like, if you're a Russian tank operator, do you just slay everybody outside? Because if you don't, those people might kill you.
But you can't see everybody. Like every time I see someone shooting it at them, they're not like out in the open. First of all, they're in a tank. It's hard to see out of that fucking thing. Mm-hmm. So like if somebody's like on your like 7 o'clock or whatever, like behind you and to the right or left, you have no idea. Like they can just shoot at you. Like you can kind of see like a I think they've got like on some of the newer tanks they've got all sorts of equipment, but it looks like they're in like tanks from the 60s and 70s. I don't know what the visibility. The tanks I've been in, if you're not if someone's not popping out of the top looking around, you have a hell of a time spotting a guy with a rocket before he can hit you and doing anything about it, unless that guy is also on a gun.
That explains it more. Yeah, because it seems like the people shooting the tanks are really vulnerable. But now that I realize how blind tanks can be.
So when they use like the shittiest of weapons, they're very close. Like the RPGs, like they're like 50, 100 meters away, it seems like. But with the javelins, the range on those is like 2,500 meters, I think. It's something
so
like it's
safe.
Really far. Like it's anywhere from like 50 meters to like 3,000 meters or something in that realm, like far. And that thing like takes off, doesn't leave any smoke trail, like any evidence of where the shooter was. And it's like a 12-second travel time or something to the maximum range. And it's coming in like top down. So the armor doesn't really matter as much, especially on these like the T-72 tanks. Right under the turret is where all the ammunition is. So it just blows those the fuck up. That's why you see so many pictures of the turrets sitting on the ground off of the tanks.
I didn't realize that. So they hit it there and then it explodes and pops the top off.
Yeah, the whole tank cooks off. That's how a lot of those tanks. What happens to a lot of them? Because a lot of the weapons they use make these small entry holes that then just spray all this spalling shit and like hot metal bouncing around and with some of them just plasma, like superheated gas is being injected in there, and so it's killing the crew and if possible, igniting the ammunition. And
Jesus,
if it starts a fire, it'll eventually cook it off. I've seen so many from the Syrian conflict, just like the tank gets hit and then it burns for a while, and then finally, like the ammunition catches, and it's just a bomb. It's such a huge explosion.
Have they rolled out any like new looking tanks?
So like,
or is it still all the old stuff?
From what I understand, the T-72s go back to like probably 1972 or something. Like it's probably I'm guessing on that part, but I think it's from that era at the very least. And then the T-90 or something was a tank from maybe like 20 years ago that they don't have a lot of. I saw a few of those destroyed. But I think there's a new tank that I was reading about. It's that Russia's been bragging about for like the last 15 years. And the specs on it and the description of it would make it the best tank in the world. But every time they've ever wheeled them out, they've always had issues, and no one believes that Russia can make them in any sort of quantity at all. Like maybe they've got a handful, like 3 or 4, but it's an actual like modern main battle tank with an auto loader, which a lot of tanks don't use, and a 3-man crew. They usually use 4-man crews because now you don't have a guy actually loading those 40-50 pound shells into the gun every time and locking the breech and saying do it, fire. You've got a machine back there doing all that. They claim it can do I think 10 rounds a minute. 10 rounds a minute they claim it can do. Is
that a ton for a tank?
No, that would be about as good as a person. A little worse than a person, but being a little bit worse than a person and never ever making a mistake might be better than a person, considering that now
you don't get tired either.
And your whole crew can sit side by side. like we're all in a row, like I'm sitting here, and we've each got our own little like TV screens we're doing shit with. But I haven't seen one of those outside of like proving ground footage that they've shown before in the past and stuff like that. They drove one down the street once and the driver put it in park and they couldn't get the park brake off, and they brought another tank to try to pull it, and the tracks were spinning on the asphalt, and you got like a general and like all these guys wearing the fancy stuff, and they're just like, the fuck, the boss is waiting, and you can see like the park brakes on, like nobody knows how to use this shit. So no, they don't have any.
It looks like it's called the T-14 Armata.
Yeah,
and
Armata.
They were Armata, and it looks like they were supposed to have 100 of them by this year, but they do not.
No, they do not.
They delayed it, and I mean 100, a test batch of 100. So yeah, it's not like they've got these things rolling around in Ukraine right now. No way. No,
absolutely not. It seems like the cool thing about that Armata program is that they were going to do like a one chassis across mini weapons platforms. So you would have your rocket truck on the same chassis as the main battle tank.
Mhm.
And that would also be the chassis for like the forward operating vehicles and the APCs. And so that would mean that suddenly parts across the board fit everything. Because right now they've got parts for T-72s and they got parts for T-90s and they got parts for every other little variant. But if they could go across the board with the same parts, it would be a huge win. But they can't do that.
Yeah,
that tank's way too advanced for their economy right now. Anyway,
Yeah, they need to go third world.
They'll struggle with like getting the materials to make that tank at this point. I think I saw Venezuela stepped up. They were like, anything Russia needs, we'll sell them. And it's like, what do you have? Oil.
Well, they have a ton of oil.
Russia has.
No one's buying it. Things Russia doesn't need.
It's like in Civ when like someone's declared war on you and the game has become shitty for you and you're just trying to fix your happiness and you're like, hey, do you have any? Could you trade me pineapples? And they're like, I already have pineapples. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
No one can dig me out of this. So that's what Russia's got with its like Venezuelan ally.
I think I saw Germany's still buying energy from them.
So are we.
It could be out of date.
They kind of have
so
to.
Are we,
right?
because you have to weigh out like how bad do we shoot ourselves in the foot to like make them stumble a little?
We buy from Russia?
Yeah, 60 million a day that we send to Russia. Dollars.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Republicans, I watched them speak, and it was like all the main Republicans, and it was so compelling. They were like, if you want to crack down on Ukraine, how about this? We're importing, I think it's 500,000 barrels.
That's
of
right.
Russian.
We need to crack down on Ukraine.
Well, I mean,
I think
that's what
Russia.
that's what there's. Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Russia.
I'm
These
teasing.
fucking
Sorry.
Ukrainians defending themselves.
If you want to get the Ukraine,
The Republicans are saying like, look, if you actually want to crack down on Russia, we're bringing in 400,000 barrels of oil from them a day. I'm from the great state of Montana. Now, last year we produced 1.1 million barrels of oil. That's a lot. But 2 years ago under Donald Trump, we made 1.6 million barrels of oil. Now that's 500,000 barrels of oil that we couldn't produce because of the way Joe Biden has said we can pump oil. That's just from my state. That would fix this whole thing. And then like another guy comes up. He's from Texas. And then Marco, who's the one who's the serial killer?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz comes up. The one whose daughter doesn't want to kiss him. He comes up and he speaks well too. And they made a ton of sense about like, look, we're still buying like $60 million worth of oil a day. I think that was the number actually. And from Russia every day. That's $60 million we give them every single day. And you're talking about cutting off Nike and Apple Pay. It's like maybe we could just stop handing them $60 million of money every day. And it made a lot
be better long term to have more resource availability here.
And the other thing is like not only you wouldn't want to just make enough oil to fill the Russian need, our Russian need. You'd want to pump enough oil to fill the Europeans' needs as well, right? If you could fulfill Germany's oil, if you could sell Germany all the oil that Russia was going to sell them for the same price or more, like
it'd have to
Germany
be more.
would be
We don't have a pipeline leading to Germany.
Yeah, we got plenty of boats though. We're good at that. And hey, maybe we do need a pipeline. Tokyo's absurd from high altitude. Tokyo doesn't look real. It looks like
that's probably the coolest big city on Earth, right? I haven't been, obviously, but it looks clean, like super hyper clean, and that's nice.
All the stereotypes were true. It was hyper clean. It was beautiful. The people were like very polite and like organized. I went to the subways, used the subway to get around in there. I was shocked at how everyone stayed on their side. There were no stragglers walking against traffic. Like on the escalator, I think there's like just a regular escalator like any of ours. But on one side, people stood still, and the other side was for the walkers. There's no blocking the path. And 0 people disobeyed the system. The social contract was strictly adhered to.
Good for them. We can't even manage that in airports.
True.
No. Well, in some places we can.
Yeah. But like a husband and wife standing next to each other, blocking what is a horizontal escalator called? Like the moving sidewalk thing?
Speedway. A walkway.
Really?
A sizzle pad.
It's definitely not that.
All right, so
Okay.
like husband and wife will
you
stand
had
there with their
0 names.
suitcases blocking the sizzle pad, and that you wouldn't be surprised by it. It's just like, oh yeah, you keep walking until you hit the first couple.
Are you having a dog issue right now, Kyle?
I'm
I
about
choose
to
to
go
believe
get
he's
him.
yelling at his girlfriend.
No, is she acting up?
She won't shut the fuck up.
You gotta hit. He hits her with a newspaper to keep her in line.
Rolled up
No, he hits her
newspaper.
with a bag of oranges. No bruises.
No bruises. I'm still watching that Dan Carlin thing, the Supernova in the East, about the Japanese in World War II, and it's so fucking good. I'm like, I feel
Is
like
it making you like the Japanese more?
Oh, it makes me despise them.
Hating them?
It makes me despise those scummy pieces of shit. Oh, they're awful. The Australians were hardcore. They were, I think they're maybe on Guadalcanal or one of the big islands. Lots of Australians. They've been stuck there for a long time, not much food. And the Australians just got so good, they stopped losing men almost. And they got so good at killing. And they're talking about, they came upon one of their guys. They've been tortured. And there's a sign above their guy that said he took a long time to die. And it's like, this enraged the Australians. They went on a killing spree. It's just like, it's great. They find their guy like bent over with had been raped and with a bayonet up his ass. He's dead. Like they would. So after a while, there was no taking of prisoners at all, or even considering the taking of prisoners, or even messing with a body. They considered the dead bodies to be like zombies. They might get back up because they'd often play dead. They'd often be like one guy out there with a grenade under him, ready to pop up and take you with him.
I don't. That doesn't seem very honorable.
It's super honorable if you can take a Marine down with you. But it makes me hate the Japanese, just despise them. Like the Battle of Midway is just one of the coolest stories ever. Basically, the Japanese show up with their 4 carriers, 4 aircraft carriers, and like a huge navy, and we're there with I think 3, and one of them's fucked up already. It's already damaged from maybe a previous battle. And they're bombing land with their carriers when they spot our carriers. And so their guy has a decision, because it's a big deal to switch from land to air bombing and get the refueling done. Mm-hmm. And so he decides to take all of the guys who are bombing the land, let them all land, let them all refuel all the planes, including the ones that are like flying around doing defense. Basically, he brings every plane back and has it dressed, fueled, and like armed to go fight the American to go fight the American carrier. The alternative would have been to be like, send what we have now. And as soon as we can send more, send a little more. And as soon as we can send another one, every time we have a guy with a plane that's suited to attack the carrier group of the Americans, send it. He could have done that, because that's what the Americans did. The Americans had this, it was continuous. It begins at like, they know exactly what time, because it's the fucking Navy. And like, the Americans were attacking continuously. Our torpedoes didn't work. The torpedo planes are have the most dangerous job. They have to fly at wave height and like detach this torpedo, and they would either go too low, or even if they hit, they didn't work. Like our torpedoes for the first 2 or 3 years of the war were bullshit. They literally didn't work. Yes, it went on for years. Torpedoes not working before they fixed the problem. Meanwhile, the Japanese had the best torpedoes in the world. So all the torpedoes are hitting and missing, or just not blowing up, doing 0 damage. And then the dive bombers come. It's starting to look like the Americans are going to lose, because the Japanese are fending them off so well. Then the dive bombers come, and the pilot had been at Pearl Harbor. And the pilot, you've got his first-person not viewpoint, but like his narrative, as he's coming down from high altitude straight down into one of the carriers. It's got a big red circle painted on the deck. And he's like, I'm aiming right for that 50-foot circle. And I drop my bomb and I pull up hard and I watch and watch. That's a biplane. But
this is the American Revolution. No, I'm confused.
Yeah, but he hit. They hit 3 of the Japanese carriers. They destroyed 3 of the Japanese carriers in that battle, and that changed the whole war. Like, that's where the war changes. The Japanese lose 3 carriers, and even though our shit is heavily damaged, I think they sink one of our carriers in that battle. But the reason they sink our carrier, if I remember correctly, they came and attacked our carrier, fucked it up, dropped bombs through the deck. There's wooden decks on American and Japanese carriers. The Germans had steel decks, I think, or the British did. And so the thing's on fire. They radio back. one carrier down, one flat top down. That's what the Japanese say. But the crew on that boat was so good and experienced at putting out fires and repairing that they put the fires out, repaired the deck, and were launching planes off of it. So when the Japanese get back, they think one carrier's down. It's not. In fact, it's been repaired to full power already before they can get back. And so they say, oh, we found another carrier. And so they hit it again. I think then they sink it. So they think they've taken out 2 carriers when they've only taken out 1.
I think I have this right. Early in World War II, there was an attack on an American ship of some sort, naval ship, and they took out the firefighting team. And then something that would have been extinguished was sunk. So then the Navy made a change in tactic and trained every single sailor to have a firefighting role so that you couldn't just take out the right 37 guys and sink a ship. And that lends to what Kyle was saying, like, they were so good at firefighting because literally everyone on the ship is a firefighter.
World War II aircraft carriers were triply flammable, I think he puts it. And that they're
compared
full
to
of,
what?
Compared to anything, compared to any other naval
fuel.
vessel.
Those things are so flammable.
Compared to any other naval vessel because they're made of wood and they have all the fuel for the planes and then the bombs for the planes, and they also have guns on them. So like have all the ammo for those guns, all those 5-inch shells or 8-inch shells or whatever the fuck, and all the powder that launches them. So if you hit the wrong part, it's just they would jump out of the water. Those big gigantic naval vessels, destroyers and stuff, when the magazine goes off, in every narrative I've heard, like different battles, they talk about the boats jumping out of the water from the power of the explosion.
Nowadays, Russian tanks are curiously flammable. Like I see them just drop a grenade in the open hatch. So if the Russians abandon their tank, maybe it's immobilized or something, then the Ukrainians will come along and drop a grenade in the empty tank just so that it can't be repaired and reused. And it's surprising to me just how often they seem to burst into flames. All the rounds that are stored inside catch fire and blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense. You're probably not like spending a ton of time fireproofing against like a grenade attack at the last second because it's it's already over if that happens.
The American tanks have their magazine in a separate compartment that has blowout panels. So when it explodes, it has a released explosion that vents so you don't kill everyone and lose the turret.
Well, that's a much better idea.
It's a way better idea if you're inside the tank.
I'd so much rather be in that tank than the one where you just burn alive.
We've got AC as well, like good air conditioning in there. 100%, right?
Well, I bet the Russians probably don't have good AC because it's Russia.
I think he said that Russians don't have AC. I think he said the Israelis have AC suits, like there's a hose that goes onto what they're wearing, and the Americans have AC, if I recall. It's something like that.
Fucking cool. I'd love an AC suit. Just walk around all the time, like water circulating in it.
I think it was powered by the tank. Like the tank has a hose that you put on your, I'm making it up, shoulder, and now you're air conditioned inside.
I wonder if it's like, I would want liquid to be radiating through it, like an engine radiator.
Like you're a computer?
I am a computer.
Well, I guess
keep me cool.
Technically,
I want like hell. I want it all up around my head and my groin. I want like armpits. I want that.
You're not going to kill a lot of foes if you're all sweaty.
I don't intimidate with lack of shrinkage.
I just want to.
You just want to be sweaty, dangling sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls, long. It's me at full size entering battle.
That's how we beat the Japanese. Is they saw our sweaty dicks and balls, and they're like, "Oh, we cannot possibly compete with this," because they were cold.
Do you remember at the beginning of the Ukraine war, people were like, are tanks even relevant? They're so easy to take out with these inexpensive rounds, et cetera, et cetera. Turns out tanks still matter. I have that thought about aircraft carriers. Like, they haven't really been put to the test against a viable opponent in a while. Sure, we beat the fuck out of Iran in like the 90s or something. But they weren't a good test. What did they have? Frigates or something? Oftentimes like cargo ships converted to warships. Of course we won. They did have MiGs, but we had planes up too. We got
harpoon missiles, I think. Oh no, I can't remember what the missiles were. So here's what happened. So the Iranians pissed us off.
They damaged one of our ships badly, and any other ship would have sank, quite likely. I just watched a video on this. And but what happened is it just so happened that the crew on that ship, I guess the Navy has like competitive emergency repair like competitions, and these guys were the boss. So they're like
the winners.
They're like taking chains, and the ship was only held together by the deck. That it was like opening in the middle, and they're like chaining the ship back together, welding it and whatever. And they saved the ship. It didn't go down. There wasn't a single death.
A year later, it was back on the ocean and good to go.
A few days or a few hours, they got it in port in like Dubai or something. And then, like Kyle said, they took it to America, fully fixed it, and the thing did another like 15 years in service. So they badly damaged the ship and would have sank most, but it just so happened we had this.
It was a mine, by the way, an Iranian mine in international waters. We were escorting maybe Saudi oil, maybe our oil, French oil. It doesn't matter. Someone's oil. Our Navy was escorting it. Hit the mine. Now Ronald Reagan's mad.
So they decide to do a proportional response. We had a damaged ship. We sank half their Navy, and it was just like I don't know, like they had 3 oil rigs, but I guess these oil rigs were used for military purposes. And it's like, we're going to take out all 3 of these oil rigs and like one of their ships. And then like we take out one oil rig, we take out another oil rig, and we're taking them out so easily and fast that like our plans for taking them out aren't even working. Like on the first one, I think we damaged the rig. We sent some Marines on it with demolition, and they took out the first rig. Second rig, we have Navy SEALs who are going to do that same task, like put demo rigs on it and shit. But the boat shot the fuck out of it, and we're like, sorry, Naval SEALs, there's nothing left to sink. It's
with like
done.
My favorite part is they call over, hey, get the fuck out of there. This is the United States Navy. We're blowing that shit up. And they're like, okay, we'll leave. Like, you got 15 minutes. They see that they're earnestly trying to leave. And they're like, okay, have 10 more minutes. Clearly, you're actually trying to get out of there. But then one asshole gets on like a 20 millimeter cannon, like a ship to ship, maybe anti-air kind of boop, 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 boop gun, cannon, and shot at the Navy vessel. They vaporized him instantly.
Yes. Yeah.
They made a point of that. They hit him.
Yes.
Well, that does seem fair. If everybody else was trying to hustle, you don't want to blow the whole thing.
The capability impresses me, right? Like they were far away. Navy shit all happened. Like there was another point in the video I was watching, and they're like, this thing was 15 miles away, which in naval terms is point blank range, right? Like that's how they operate. But anyway, this thing was closer than that, I think. And they
were in visual range with this guy. They hit him with a cannon.
Yeah,
they returned
right at him.
Did he hit the boat?
I don't know if the anti-aircraft.
I think they said damage, but
nobody was hurt. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah,
he shot.
They ruined the paint. And so then they bring in like their battleship, and I think we had planes sink the battleship, and then another battleship comes, and they're like, hey, we weren't even planning on sinking you, but like you should leave. And they're like, okay, we'll leave, but they don't. They keep coming, and they're like, well, that was a mistake. And they sank that thing with like dive bombing torpedoes from the sky or something. And then
the best part was at the end, because now out of nowhere, they finally find the ship they've been looking for the whole time. But now they've already wreaked havoc. They've
gone way beyond proportional.
They don't even need this to take this ship out anymore.
They don't need it anymore. So they call back, hey, we found the target, but we already wrecked their shit. You want me to come home? And they're like, yeah, come on home. Now, this is the part where you've got to read between the lines a little. That's when we went for a little close flyby just to make sure it was the ship we were looking for, which means we got real close to it with our plane and pissed them the fuck off. And then they shot at us. Because, we'd been sinking them all day.
Yeah.
When they shot at us, the fighter pilot was able to, rules of engagement state that now we are engaged. I don't need to call back home. I'm in a fight. So he sank them.
And you think it was oh no, they're coming right for us, like thing.
He antagonized them by flying close and waited for them to shoot at him. And he's like, oh, they've engaged. Let's take them out. And he took.
What was that? I think I heard something whiz past me. Damn.
But yeah, that's the day when the United States sank half the Iranian Navy.
I think there was a Navy ship from the Iranian side where, if I have the story right, we were like, look, we weren't going to sink you. if you just leave, we'll pretend we didn't see you. And they accepted those terms. I think that did happen.
Yeah, one definitely had enough sense to leave. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, our Navy wrecked Iran's Navy, but that's not a big surprise. I
I
wonder what
think
happens if it's
Navy.
China. Russia is known to have the second best Navy, unless that's out of date.
Man, every time I see a Russian boat, it's fucking tipped over to the side these days. The fear is those missiles that could hit our aircraft carrier, I guess, those hypersonic naval missiles.
That's where I started with the tank thing.
Well, I'm not impressed by the Russian hypersonic missile, clearly, because we can take those down. And you've seen all the crazy like guns that are. It reminds me of The Expanse. You know, they've got the cannons on the side that like cut down the Navy ships have those. Have you seen the Reddit clip of one locking onto an airliner?
Oh, yeah. No. And they're like, oh, no. Yeah.
They're just trolling. They're being a little silly. It's definitely not loaded. They're important and everything. But it like locks onto an airliner. And it's like, and it's just this passive system that can do that. It's real cool. That thing is so fast.
Are any of our current allies good with their Navy? Like, you know, the England, they used to have the best Navy in the world. That was quite a ways ago now. Like, are we are we the only one really putting the power on the water? Like China's England, do they have a lot of France? I don't hear about them. Germany, I don't hear about them helping out in the Navy shit. But I also spend no time looking into Navy shit.
I know the Australians have a pretty interesting fleet. They just bought a ton of nuclear subs from us for an enormous amount of money. And but the Chinese, I keep hearing about when they spend money on their Navy, it's often a Navy that's meant to invade Taiwan. So it's landing vessels and craft that are meant for this. I don't know what the distance is, you know, between them. It's not far though. And a certain kind of vessel can make that little hop over carrying troops. And I think they've been investing a lot in that. But you would think that it would be silly to kind of, I don't know, try to compete with us at some point.
No, not compete, but like, from China, like competing, yeah.
But I was like a worthwhile friend.
Yeah. Like, is Germany helping? Like, is Germany like, oh, you will not believe this, America. We come up with something, make your boats even better. And it's like, that's great. You guys and your engineering, thanks for that, Germany.
Not
like, is that kind of happening?
So we all see what Zach wrote. Zach said the U.S. is 1, Russia, China are 2, 3, but we don't know the order. Yeah. Indonesia's 4, which I didn't know.
That makes sense.
And after that, like, I can see why. Maybe
by
not
what
England, but
statistic?
Like France. Yeah, I don't know. India, Japan, and France after. France is 5, 6, 7th.
What I'm always impressed by our Navy and our military is that our military is designed to do its fighting on the other side of the planet, whereas a lot of militaries are built as defensive measures. Israel's army is built in a way to fight right where they fucking are. They have no business flying and fighting in Cleveland. They're never going to do it. But ours is built to not only do that, but do it really well. There's so many. I remember when the Russians had a submarine go down not all that long ago. They needed rescuing. They're down there on the ocean floor. And of course, they decline our help. We're the only people out there who can rescue submariners because their like rescue ship is rusting in the Baltic or up on the halfway to the North Pole. So much of their fancy shit that you need to keep running. Like, the vessel that's meant to go and save submariners on the bottom of the ocean doesn't get a lot of work in because that doesn't happen much, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be a real deal kind of fucking Navy to keep that huge vessel, all the men on it. And don't imagine 100 men. Imagine many shifts of hundreds of men or maybe 1,000 men. I don't know. Yeah. So like aircraft carriers have 5,000 people on them. But we have all that stuff. It always blows me away when they need a tool, they've got it.
Yeah, but they only have 5,000 people on there for now. Like, eventually, those things will be like remote controlled sea bases. And we'll be flying like drones directly off of them. Like, will we even need people there? Maybe like a couple of mechanics or something to like fix stuff in the.
I don't know what the 5,000. I think those 5,000 men are, you know, repairing planes, loading planes, fueling planes, keeping the ship going. There is a nuclear reactor.
A lot of those men are there to serve the men.
That's true. We should leave
somebody's operating. Homer's down there with his hand on the switch, you know.
But like, you take the pilots out of the planes, and suddenly, like, you need fewer cooks. Like, there's a multiplication. You need fewer people doing laundry and fewer people doing who knows what.
That's fair.
That's what happened eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's fucking cool. I've never seen one in person. Have either of you seen an aircraft carrier? I want to see
I
that.
have from a bridge.
Maybe I bet
like I have also
in Virginia, and what's the fucking big naval yard in Virginia? I bet if I went up there, I could see one if I timed it just right. I legitimately want to see one. They're so fucking big. That might be the most impressive thing that we make as humans.
So yeah, some of the commercial stuff's really big too.
The boats,
ships, like oil rig, oil.
Yeah.
What the hell is the oil ship called? I can't think of the name of it. The ones that the oil tanker.
Yeah,
I'm going for.
Yeah,
They can be really big.
Yeah,
some cargo ships.
Yeah, but this one's nuclear powered, and it's full of billions of dollars of planes and shit. And there's 5,000 men on it. That's crazy. There's 5,000 men on it.
It's a city.
I bet it's cramped.
It's a city.
I bet if you're a 3, this is as a girl, you get anyone you want.
Yeah.
Oh, on a Navy
there's
ship?
like a 10 to 1 boy to girl ratio on the Navy ship. And if you're a 3, you're a 3 at sea is like a 9 at home.
A 3 at sea.
Do you think
that's what we call her? 3 at sea.
Can you imagine you're in the fucking Pacific? You hop on Tinder.
Fuck! It's just the same. It's just the same 4
girl. You swipe right on the captain. Fingers crossed.
Meanwhile, she has like 5,000 guys to go through.
Yeah.
You swipe left on all 4 of them, and it's like, would you like to expand your range by 3,000 miles?
Nautical miles.
If you can maybe reach the coast of Iran from here.
Now you got Polynesian fishermen on there. Yeah. I don't know. The Navy is one of the most impressive
everyone's jobs. Like, sup, I'm on a Navy ship. They're all the same. Yeah, that would be funny.
I think there was a controversy. Oh, we were talking about it with somebody. I think somebody got pregnant on a naval ship or something.
But Kyle seemed to know it all. Anyway, if we were to get into a fight with China, would it be the same thing? Would we walk in there with better tanks, better carriers, better airplanes, and then they would have this manufacturing capability that allows them to do to us what we did during World War II?
I mean, they would push our, if it was a manufacturing battle, like they'd push our shit in. Like, it's not even close at this point. Like, so we'd have to have a really superior design.
I don't think any. I'm sure someone knows, but I don't think that I'm equipped to even begin to understand what that war would look like. I guess we're fighting over Taiwan, right? So,
if that's
what it is.
Like their backyard.
Oh yeah, we're fighting right there. When the Japanese are going to be there, New Zealand and Australia, the massive Pacific Fleet. Look, I'm always the guy like going oorah American power because God, we just outspend the rest of y'all 10-1 or some shit. Yeah. I just think
as long as that dollar is the trading currency of oil.
Look, I just think the U.S. is going to win every time because they outspend so much. I just think that when it comes down to it, like our shit'll just be a little better, and there will be more of it. And I don't know that the war is going to devolve to that 1950s thing where it's literally factories pumping out. We need more planes. If we need more planes, that suggests that we're losing planes. That we're losing them at a huge rate. That means we're losing pilots too, right? Like I don't know if
let's
either
say
country
both sides.
I don't think either country is set up to train new air forces full of pilots and get their 5th or 6th generation planes pumped out in a timely fashion. Planes don't work like that anymore.
Well, let me ask you, if there was a country between the US and China that could do that, would it be the US or would it be the country with all the manufacturing and with 5 times our population?
What kind of manufacturing are we talking about, Taylor? Are we talking about building shitty steel? Are we talking about building Chinese cars? Are we talking about building the cutting edge technology that you need to fly under advanced radar systems and deliver laser guided, radar guided bombs precisely and pinpointly to dissolve a country's entire infrastructure?
And to add on to what Kyle's saying, like, also, this is an environment where we're trying to invent new shit, not just copy what America did 5 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, the idea that the U.S. even has the option to like vaporize China's manufacturing districts, like They would do the same thing the Germans did and change and just constantly be switching fucking machineries and shit in all these normal ass manufacturing plants. Like they can't outproduce us in a way that we can't anymore. The U.S.
What are they
needs
producing
a bunch
though? That it goes back to what my question.
military
like,
equipment,
What kind?
tanks, planes, any
Where
of
we
that shit they can do faster than us. It may
don't
not
think
be as
so.
good. I'm just saying they absolutely can. And the U.S. depends on China's exports a hell of a lot more than China depends on the U.S.'s imports, which means that the U.S. has a vested interest in not destroying the entire manufacturing economy of China.
Well, I think both sides have economic worries if they go to war with one another. I think it'd be a massive global event, far beyond like the military like might of it all. But I don't know what that war even looks like.